A pretty common request I've gotten over the years is to cover the best Americans in fighting games, which is a surprisingly more challenging topic than you'd think. The United States of America is the home to many of our favorite fighting game characters, being one of the most represented countries across all fighting games, so I did not know the best way to judge them and narrow down the massive pool of potential choices. Should it focus on their backstories and championships they've won in their game's lore, maybe their moveset, perhaps how iconic they are? Well, in the end, since we all love campiness here, we decided the best way is to choose the characters whose clothing, moves, dialogue, and personality just screams,
"Yeah, America!" So funny.
As in, the characters that are the most over the top in one way or another about showing us that they're from the United States of America, like those that dress in full red, white, and blue, or just wear the American flag as their outfit. And to cram as much America into each segment, any characters that generally work as a team in some way will count as a single entry. That being said, one character or team per series of origin, with games like the SNK Fighters or other crossovers each counting as unique individual series. Speaking of teams, I'll be joined by my co-host, Judgment Meter.
Me, hi! Greetings, fellow video fans.
She's not gonna talk like that for the whole video.
It's true, it hurts my throat.
Now, let's rock with our top 10 Americans in fighting games. Number 10, Jackie Bryant from Virtua Fighter. Jackie's all about speed, being an IndyCar racer who calls himself the Blue Flash. Good thing he's in a game made by Sega, so he has Sonic's permission to imply he's both blue and fast. Sonic was even a good sport about it, inviting Jackie to his crossover racing game, though Jackie's default colors tend to be red and black. He should really take a lesson from his sister on how to wear blue more often. Jackie can be in your face both figuratively and literally. His moves are as fast as his car, being rushdown oriented with a Jeet Kune Do playstyle. I especially like when he does a twirl mid-combo, and if you lose to him, get ready for some more Sonic parallels because he'll essentially tell you that you're too slow.
It's like you're moving in slow motion.
Overall, he's a pretty cool guy, so maybe you'll find some things to like about him behind the cheesiness of his lines.
Man, no, I do like him. His hair's cool. Oh, I love those shoes. That's about it.
What about his jacket? Do you want to get hype about that? It's got fire on the back. That's pretty rad.
Oh, I didn't see that. His jacket's okay. Terry has a better jacket. I'm jaded now by everyone else's jacket.
Stop referencing characters we're talking about later on this list.
But he's just so cool.
But hey, so is Jackie, America's best IndyCar racer and fighter, at least in the Virtua Fighter world.
You can't beat me with that!
Number 9, TJ Combo from Killer Instinct. TJ earned his spot for those outfits. He goes all American with those shirts. I appreciate the 2013 shirt advertising his gym and spreading the flag motif to the gloves, but I also like the simple yet effective flag design from the first game to remind everybody that he reps the U.S.A. Pick your favorite.
Combo Jim. Look at my ripped crop top.
That being said, Killer Instinct is a crazy dystopia where robots and space aliens fight alongside humans and other creatures, so I'm not even sure if those guys would understand what these flag designs mean. Regardless, my favorite outfit is the one from Killer Instinct 2, since it goes all out even more. He's got the flag tank top, military pants, and red, white, and blue shoes, just in case he's kicking you too much where you don't get a good view of his top, so you can still look at his shoes to be reminded of America. Also, the eyewear is stylish. Glad they brought that back as a clothing option in Killer Instinct 2013.
Yeah, it's an eye patch. Hey, he's so patriotic that his eye patch has a star on it.
I'm not sure if he's based on any particular boxer, but with all the America on his outfits, I could easily imagine him fighting in Rocky IV alongside Rocky and Apollo Creed. Number 8, Galford from Samurai Showdown. Galford is a warrior of justice and the original American ninja warrior. When training to become a stronger hero, he learns about the ninja in Japan, so he goes there to train with one so he'll be skilled enough to take down all evil in the world. He's generally the optimistic sadistic guy who's not directly involved with most of the villains in the main plot, but he's here because he senses evil afoot, plus people love to have him around. He's a positive guy. You can hear the happiness in his voice, which always stuck out in the original games, being the only lines in English. He was running around with his dog, having a blast and yelling, "Yeah!" And, "Hey, puppy!" I was unsure if Galford would be eligible for this list, since Samurai Showdown takes place in the late 1700s, before California, his home state, was a territory of the U.S.A., which started in 1848. However, looking at the manual for the original game, not only does it say he's from the U.S.A., but it specifically says he's from San Francisco and the good old U.S.A. I don't know why they wrote it like that, but I love it. However, the big reason he's here is he has a dog, which is straight up wholesome. In fact, when talking with my co-host on who should be the Samurai Showdown rep for this video, his dog was emphatically the deciding factor for her. Here's how that conversation went down. Okay, so we have a few options with this one. Starting with the first game, we have Earthquake, who's from Texas, but before Texas was acquired by the US. Then we have Galford, who's from San Francisco, but also before California was acquired.
He has a doggo? I like him.
The dog's name is Poppy.
Poppy the puppy. He has a bracelet with a feather. Oh, the bracelet matches the scarf.
Huh, I just thought it was there because the dog was previously injured.
I don't want to think about that. That crossed my mind and I said no.
And that's how Galford ultimately made it to this list. Thanks for listening. Number 7, the American sports team from King of Fighters. When King of Fighters first premiered in 1994, SNK created teams to represent certain countries. So for the United States, we were introduced to a group of fighters based around sports popular in the USA. Lucky is a basketball player, Heavy D is a boxer, and Brian is a football player. And tell me what's more American than football?
I'm trying to learn about sports from this picture.
Yeah, their official name of American sports team is misleading. It sounds like they're just a sports team going off to play some generic sports ball, when really that's just their theme. Each one of them participates in a sport. The sports they each take part in are very different. Watching them won't unlock your mind to understanding every major US sport. None of these guys can teach you baseball. I don't even think you should learn football from Brian. He's not even wearing a helmet. He's probably not even wearing a cup. After King of Fighters 94, they basically disappeared. We saw them again in King of Fighters 98, but that was essentially it. I always had trouble gauging how popular they were since I never see too much love for Brian or Lucky, but when I omitted Heavy D from my fighting game boxer list, he got a lot of support, so I think the jury is still out on them. Of course, I find their campiness to be charming and would like to see them return someday. Personally, Lucky is my favorite of the group, in part because of his playstyle.
I like that he wears purple.
I guess the Lakers truly are America's team, or maybe it's because he's based on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, purple.
Anyway, I like how he can dunk the opponent and fight with a basketball. Sorry, Sean, he beat you to it. Number 6, Paul Phoenix and Martial Law from Tekken. Two of the longest tenured Tekken characters make a great duo. Paul has been in every Tekken game, and Martial only missed Tekken 3 in the first tag tournament game where his son Forrest took his place, but Martial still appeared in the Tekken 3 ending for Forrest alongside Paul. Basically though, these guys have been with Tekken since the beginning, getting into shenanigans together and representing America, alongside Michelle at the start. However, when Tekken dabbled in the tag team aspect of fighting, Paul and Martial were considered a dream team. Combining the styles of Judo and Jeet Kune Do, they created a force that was, pretty good. I liked their custom throws together. They were a full-on official tag team in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, teaming up to make money because the plotline was that they were always broke.
It's important to teach your children about money management.
Paul also had this subplot about chasing aliens, and it was weird, and I'm not sure if anyone actually liked it. Paul and Martial got reduced to pure comedy characters at this point in Tekken's life. They used to have their badass moments and comedy balanced in older games, but it doesn't mean they still can't look cool in the actual fights now. Still, even when tag matches were not in season in Tekken games, Martial and Paul were still still a team, usually both entering the tournament individually to help one another or just hanging out like bros in arcade mode endings. I like how their common goals and differences in life choices mesh well together. Paul is a motorcycle riding drifter who just wants to be the strongest fighter in the universe.
Cool. Motorcycles are so American.
And Marshall is a fighting chef who just wants to open up his own restaurant and dojo.
I like that about him. Follow your dreams.
Paul has definitely become the wackier of the two over the years, but even from the beginning, his goofiness was well documented. If not from his rivalry with a bear, which I still think sounds pretty awesome, then it's from his pristine, tall, cylindrical Paul Phoenix hair.
Looks like a blonde Polnareff.
No, it's a completely unique hairstyle that no one has ever worn before.
But the hair! Don't you see he has the same hair?
But wouldn't that mean Benny Maru and the original Guile design are also just blonde Polnareff with your logic?
Yeah, now you're getting it.
Well, bravo, oh bravo, Judgment Meter. I guess you win this argument. Regardless, Paul and Marshall make for a great duo whenever Tekken allows them to team up in a fight.
Now let's do it! On my way!
Number 5. Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury. Terry's design was based on a cliché American cool guy in Japanese culture, being a long-haired blonde guy with a baseball cap while bombastically yelling out English phrases.
Good luck!
But it's one thing to be based on a cool guy. Terry succeeded at being an American cool guy with flying colors. Everybody loves him or should be legally obligated to love him if they don't already. Everything he says is a catchphrase. His attack names, his taunts, asking you if you're okay before he attacks, so your answer will probably be different by the time you get a chance to respond compared to how you were before he punched you.
Are you okay? KO!
Are you okay? No, you just beat the crap out of me!
Okay!
Terry follows the American way of fighting and just punches his way through all his problems. Can't punch through your enemies? Then just punch the ground. It eventually works. But possibly the most important part of Terry are his clothing options. Even if the hat is absent, he needs his outerwear. A simple shirt won't suffice for him. He either needs his vest or one of his jackets, preferably his Garo Mark of the Wolves one, since the man looks good in leather, and we want to justify the massive praise we gave it on our list about fighting game jackets.
Ugh, I want his jacket.
But if you take it, then what's he gonna wear around his torso?
Kinda into that. I actually really like that. Can you save that? He looks good. I mean, he always looks good. He's into it.
That being said, the hat and vest look is definitely his most iconic. He loves to do fancy hat maneuvers once he wins a match wearing that outfit, and the lack of sleeves gives him some much needed shoulder mobility.
Ugh, look at Terry. Look at those arms. Look at that smile. That smolder. Look at those legs. Look at him sit. Look at him stand. Look at him kill. That's one hot piece of meat. Some things Judgment Meter doesn't usually say in real life.
Number 4. Jax and Sonya from Mortal Kombat. It was hard to choose just one since they're both leaders in the special forces in the Mortal Kombat universe, and they've been in the same amount of main series games, with Jax missing the first, Sonya missing the second, and both missing Deception, and we don't talk about the special forces spinoff. So in the end, we decided both work since Mortal Kombat does have a niche for tag combat. You can play this canonical tag team of soldiers in an actual tag match. The Mortal Kombat 9 tag combat was pretty bonkers, where you could combine Sonya's acrobatic style with Jax's heavy pummel-you-in-the-face style for a lovely beatdown. To show us they were American, Jax and Sonya went to the lengths of putting up an American flag backdrop and their bios or endings in the original trilogy, along with adding some America to their modern aesthetics. For example, Jax ties an American flag around his arm as he lights up a cigar in Mortal Kombat X. Of course, I like it when he takes it a step further in Mortal Kombat 9 and just drapes the flag over himself in victory.
That fight really worked up a cold.
And earlier, I said there's nothing more American than football. Well, Jax seems to agree as he turns his opponent into a football with his field goal fatality.
Jax wins. Fatality.
For Sonya, my favorite campy outfit is her Mortal Kombat 9 alternate costume, where she has the aviators and crop top. She looks like an 80s, 90s American action hero, like a Rambo, Top Gun, Sarah Connor.
If you got 'em, rock 'em. And if you don't, rock whatever you have.
And I suppose it's also patriotic that when she wins, she summons the jets to sync up with her salutes.
Blade, report.
Mission accomplished.
Sonya wins.
Number 3, Captain America in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Captain America obviously has a storied history that's barely been documented in fighting games, but he makes up for it by being America incarnate in his Capcom appearances. He hits you with pure, unadulterated U.S.A. His punches, kicks, and various shield moves are packed with super soldier power.
That's why I'm a super soldier.
Some of the attacks even have a trail of red, white, and blue to give the arena the scent of America, but the main American visual for him is his classic outfit.
A for America. Just so you know what he's all about. Oh, that's cool.
There's just so much blue right when you look at him, and then when you observe him a little more, the red and white kick in, both in star and stripe form. Also, the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 texture makes it look like he has the scales of a fish.
He's very covered up. Very modest.
Oh, that suit is skin tight. He doesn't need to take off his shirt to show off his well-toned body.
He's sexy on his own. He just exudes sexiness from his latex. The white and the red stripes make him look like he's wearing a corset. Suck it in. Make me beautiful.
What also feels very campy about him is his manner of speaking in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I love. The voice actor gave him this hammy, deep, heroic voice for most of his original lines. It makes it sound like Captain America is right out of a 1980s G.I. Joe PSA, and it's glorious.
Metal parts don't make a man. It's what's inside that counts.
Finally, all his moves have super patriotic names like Charging Star, Stars and Stripes, and Final Justice, the latter of which is pretty awesome to watch.
I don't even know what's happening here. I don't know, something's exploding, he's running.
Well, those are just all the sprite animations out of context. It gets real epic when you add all the camera angles that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 did. Now feast your eyes.
Here it comes! Fall in! Combo KO! You win! We Avengers will always fight the good fight.
I still don't really know what he did. Just like throwing around his shield and pow-pow.
That's what it looks like to get Final Justice.
You final justice? Like a verb?
Well, not officially, but I was trying to make something happen with the name of the attack, and that came up, and hey, how about we cut to that clip of him KOing his opponent with Hyper Stars and Stripes and end the segment, please?
For freedom! Stars and Stripes! Combo KO! You win! That's why I'm a super soldier.
Number 2, Tina Armstrong from Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive took as many American cliches and bundled them all into one Tina package. Just to go over her most basic character aspect, her fighting style is American pro wrestling, and she's quite over the top about it. Her dad was even a knockoff Hulk Hogan until they redesigned him to look like an original character. Then take a look at some of her other noticeable attributes. She has the southern accent, American flag bikini, cowboy hat, and faded jeans all in one of her main defaults.
Wow, nothing's more American than an American bathing suit and a bikini. Oh wait, that's actually the same thing. I'm sorry. Nothing's more American than an American flag bikini and a cowboy outfit, all in one.
That's just the tip of the costume iceberg. It's Dead or Alive, so there's an overwhelming amount of costumes. She has wrestling outfits, casual wear, bikinis, most of which have an American theme, so once again, pick your favorite.
I'd like to say less clothes is more American, but the cowboy outfit, come on. You know what she needs? What are those called? Hot pants?
You mean chaps?
Oh yeah, either chaps or the really short shorts. Assless chaps.
Well, lucky for you, they had those types of chaps in her official cowboy costume. They truly do think of everything.
Oh wow.
And if you're wondering where she's from, just look at her bio for even more tidbits. She's from Texas, USA. Just straight up Texas. No other specifications. Oh, you're from Texas? What city, Tina? Yes.
She also likes donuts.
I guess donuts are pretty American. America does run on Dunkin' after all. I'm not sponsored. So with her moves, interests, and plethora of American costumes, you'll certainly find at least one thing to remember about Tina.
Yeah! I'ma rock you!
Well, it should be no surprise that number 1 is Guile from Street Fighter. I couldn't resist putting him on the thumbnail since his character is synonymous with the USA throughout pop culture. If you don't know him, then you know his theme, and if you don't know his theme, then you know his attacks, and if you don't know any of that, then I guess I'll teach you.
Let's go!
First, you have to consider all the competition for Guile in the Street Fighter universe for the title of Most Iconic American. For example, he's gotta go up against Ken, who's iconic in general, Balrog, who eventually pulled a Rocky with the flag, Cody, Metro City is in the USA, Poison, technically she and Cody appeared before Guile, Nash, his mentor, Viper, she's in the CIA, Rufus, I like him better than others do, Lucia, I like saying her name, and a slew of other Americans. Hell, throw Tiffany Lords in there since I did not do an honorable mention segment in this video, and Rival Schools is basically in the Street Fighter universe at this point. Let's add Felicia to the mix too, since her and Guile were both in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The point is, Guile had a lot to overcome and he rose to the top. What puts him over Ken and others on this list is simply the camp factor.
You win!
He's got that action movie vibe, he can put on the aviators, his knuckles look like they've had a lot of practice punching, and in case you weren't sure of where his homeland is, he has the flag not just on a bicep, but both biceps.
So his other arm doesn't get lonely. Or in case he forgets he's American.
Well, actually that's because he needed to be symmetrical on both sides due to the way Street Fighter 2 was coded, but I like that logic too. The joke among the Street Fighter community is that it's not a tattoo, it's a birthmark. Furthermore, he can slam his fists together to create a sonic boom, and who doesn't love the sonic boom? Then you have his other main attack, the flash kick or somersault, which is another great physical feat of power. Another thing about Guile is how popular he was in the US. If you look at the original Street Fighter media that came out in the US during Street Fighter 2's heyday in the 90s, you may have been tricked into thinking Guile was the main character. Obviously that wasn't the case if you played the game on its own, but Guile got extra spotlight in the US. I feel like when G.I. Joe did the action figure deal, Guile was an easy pick. They just gave him a bunch of guns and a helicopter because, we could imagine it, it'll make him popular. Then when the live action movie and U.S.A. cartoon came out, Guile was made the main character. While those weren't the most successful properties, it was indicative of Guile's popularity in the US that he was chosen as the protagonist over guys like Ryu and Ken. Finally, to go with his whole action movie theme, he has a serious revenge plotline where he's after Bison to get vengeance for killing his mentor and friend Nash. It's pure badassery when he gets all impassioned for his hatred of Bison! So considering his moveset, appearance, influence outside the game, and beef with main villain Bison, Guile no doubt earned his spot as our top American in fighting games.
Here we go! 1, 2, strike! No! You win!
Now, what did you think? Who were your favorites that we discussed, and what characters that rep the US did we not let take center stage? Are there fighting game Americans out there that are even more campy? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.